Well, how many guitars do you own? Well, if you have several, do you feel you need them? Or do you just enjoy having them? Well, this is a topic that comes up quite often, and today I'm going to give you a little of my perspective. Well, since starting this channel, I typically have more guitars on hand than I've ever had at any one time, because previously I never really had a need for a lot of guitars. Now, when I began playing full-time all those years ago, I had exactly one guitar, and for the longest time I had no more than two guitars. Now, full disclosure, I did go through a short period about 20 years ago when I owned maybe a dozen guitars. Now, it's no coincidence that period coincided with internet buying becoming a thing. Now, suddenly, we weren't restricted to what we could find locally. And admit it, we were like the proverbial kids in a candy store. But it wasn't long before I realized I wasn't really using all those guitars. Not that it wasn't fun having different guitars to pick up, but what's fun to have around and what I actually use to perform with are two very different things. Now, when I do a show, I typically take two guitars. And while they don't need to be two of the same type, I don't take them for the different sounds. I take the second one as a backup, of course. Now, I break a string about once every 15 years, and electronics or other failures are even more unusual. So it's very rare that one isn't enough. Of course, it's like buying insurance. You may never need it, but when you do, you really do. Also, I encounter situations where I'm outdoors and the weather is changing, and sometimes one of the two guitars will simply stay in tune a little better in those conditions. Now, don't get me wrong. There are lots of reasons to own multiple guitars. Well, maybe you're in a cover band, or you do session work and you really need the variety. Or maybe you just enjoy having a collection. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. Life is short. Do what makes you happy. Also, it's often pointed out that a different guitar can change your playing and approach. In fact, for some players, it could be beneficial to switch to a guitar that's actually a little more work, because it can slow you down and force you to play more deliberately. But purely in terms of sound, it probably makes less difference than you might imagine, especially if you're thinking in terms of developing your own personal sound and aren't chasing someone else's sound. So let me give you some examples. Well, those were three very different guitars. And while you might have your favorite, I think it would be incorrect to say any one is objectively better or more appropriate to the material. I hope this makes sense. It's not meant to steer you in any direction, but only to provoke thought. Now, if I've done that, then mission accomplished. And if you're a long-time player who knows exactly what you want and have found it, maybe many years ago, then I hope you're at least entertained. In any case, it's a fascinating journey. So let me know in the comments what discoveries you've made. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you with a new gear review very soon.